Hey, what's going on, everyone? Stephen the Lackey Gamer here, back with my end of the year, game of the year, top 10 games of the year that I played this year video. I know this year has been a very, very slow year for me as far as doing, even playing games and beating games. I didn't beat hardly any new releases. That's why I did something different this year, and I'm going for, instead of just doing new releases, just the top 10 games that I actually played and enjoyed this year, whether they were old games or new games that came out this year. And there are some new games on this list, so you will see. And you'll have to excuse the beanie and everything. I'm cold and my hair's all over the place today, so that's what we're going to be dealing with. But yeah, I know it hasn't been a lot of videos the second half of this year. I've just been really busy. That's all over and done with now, though. So when the new year starts, the channel can kind of have a resurgence, and I can go back to doing things the way I was doing back in the day. So let's go ahead and get the end of the year finished off on a good note and talk about my top 10 games of the year. I'll go ahead and go through the list of all the games that I beat because I only beat 25 games. That's all I was able to beat this year. Coming off of years where I beat almost 60 games and then you have 25. Yeah, it's kind of it's not really cool. But the games that I did play, I was glad I was able to finish them. There was some really, really good games that came out this year, some great ones. So without further ado, let me quit stalling. What I'm going to do, like I said, I'll go through the games that I beat, and then I'm going to show like some video footage over here somewhere, hopefully, if this works out, of the top 10 games as I'm doing it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But the games that I beat, and sorry if you hear any background noise too, because kids are probably up and running around. Metal Gear Solid Rising Revengeance, the swapper on the Vita. I had beaten that before on PC last year, but played again on Vita. DuckTales Remastered Edition on Wii U. Demon Souls, Final Fantasy X HD, Hotline Miami 2, Spec Ops The Line, Bloodborne, Never Alone, Super Castlevania 4, Castlevania for the NES, the original. Downloaded on the Wii U for convenience, even though I do have the cartridge. Castlevania Area of Sorrow, Fallout New Vegas, Batman Arkham Knight, Original Mega Man, Kingdom Hearts Final Mix HD, Metal Gear Solid 3 HD, Rain, Destiny: The Taken King, Mega Man Legends, Fallout 4, Dragon Quest Heroes, Until Dawn, Guilty Gear Xrd, and Dark Knight Sword. Downloadable title that you can get by Grasshopper Studios manufacturer. So yeah, that's it. Those 25 games. And narrowing it down to just 10 was harder than I thought it would out of the 25 because it had some nice quality stuff in there. But starting things off at number 10, a game that me, Dustin, and Alex wanted to do some minisodes on for a podcast that I didn't get a chance to do a video on, but Mega Man Legends. Mega Man Legends was a game that when I popped it in, Alex and Dustin said they were going to play it, so I said, why not me join in the fun, and we all three play it together, then we could talk about it when we're done. Well, things started off rough for me. It was tough going back to those kind of dated controls and not having the best camera control and turning and strafing. It was just very old school. And I was complaining to them like, I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to play this game. This is horrible. How could anyone like this? And then as I played it and time went on with it, it just started to grow on me. And I just started loving it. The charm of the game, the visual effects, the graphics and everything. The voice acting, as kind of cheesy as it was, is really good for the time, I would say, that it came out. And it made me really sad that there's not going to be Mega Man Legends 3 now, at least in its true form. So, but Mega Man Legends, what a blast. Just going around in the, I guess, a third-person shooter kind of style with its kind of funky controls. It worked out. It was a great game. I loved every moment of it. After I started getting used to everything and just the charm of it just started growing on me. I just really enjoyed the game. Tried playing on the Vita, or started on PS3, then put it on the Vita for convenience, and then I got to a boss fight where it was just impossible without doing it without some lock-on controls. Went back to the PS3, and everything went smooth from there. So I would recommend, if you want to pay for it, it's gone up there in price, but just download it. It's very cheap, and you can play it on your PS3, and it's a perfect way to play it. So Mega Man Legends, number 10. Number 9, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Really, really wanted to get back into the Metal Gear franchise this year with Metal Gear Solid 5 coming out. Didn't get to play as many as I wanted to. But being able to at least get in Metal Gear Solid 3, a game that has haunted me for years and years because I would start it, not finish it, start it, not finish it. PS2, start it, not finish it. 3DS, start it, not finish it. And I finally got the HD version on the Vita, and it seemed like that was a version for me because I played through it, really enjoyed it. The only thing that kind of held it back for me was the enemy AI and stuff in the combat. The game was really easy, just seemed really easy. And I know there's different difficulty levels, so maybe playing on a different difficulty level would be something better to do in the future if I ever revisit it. But the game, memorable boss fights, the way you could change your camo and stuff, and living off the environment, and just a very memorable storyline too. Seeing how everything just slowly progresses in the Metal Gear Solid series to where it is today. It was cool finally being able to knock that chapter out in Metal Gear Solid 3, and hopefully move on to Peace Walker next, then Metal Gear Solid 4, then 5. But something I just really want to get 5. But for now, Metal Gear Solid 3 is my number 9 game of this year that I played. Alright, moving on to number 8, Dragon Quest Heroes. The World Tree, I don't even remember the rest of the title, but Dragon Quest Heroes on the PS3. So glad this game came over here to us. Even if it didn't, I think it could be easily played if you just had a Japanese version, if we just had to all import it. But man, what a wonderful fun, just hack and slash, good time. Gundam, the kind of Dynasty Warriors combat thing, has never really been my type of game. They're fun, but they always just kind of wear off on me and I get bored of them. The Gundam series that did that, the Dynasty Warrior Gundam games, kind of grew on me with those because it's Gundams and robots and you're fighting and it's just awesome doing that. And even the Fist of the North Star games that were kind of in that type of setting. When it's characters it's a lot more fun. I've still yet to play Hyrule Wars. I think I would really enjoy that if I played that too. But the Dragon Quest Heroes just seems it nailed it because it seemed like it kept its RPG functions that would be in a Dragon Quest game. You level up, you can disperse skill points and unlock abilities or however you want through ability trees, and it feels more RPG as well. It doesn't lose its RPG touch and taste that Dragon Quest is known for its turn-based, just classic combat series, and it just fits in perfect. The music, man, does this game look beautiful. The visuals on this game are just amazing. I loved every moment I had with it. And it's just a game you can just pick up and play for 15 minutes, or you could just 2 hours can go by. So many side quests. The storyline I think stretches a little bit long, but for a game where you're just hacking and slashing away, I guess you gotta do something to fill in the gaps. So just throw in some more combat segments. But it never got old or tedious or boring to me because you could always have so many different party members and mix everything up. It's just a lot of fun. So Dragon Quest Heroes, if you haven't tried it yet, make sure you pick that up because it's a lot of fun. It's my number 8 game of this year. Number 7, a game that I revisited because my memory, people don't believe me when I say it, but I mean, things are disappearing up here. I'm just forgetting things that happened. If it's a game I played 10 or so years ago, I'll forget the storyline. It could be a game this year and I'll already forget the storyline. I think I played Metal Gear Rising Revengeance at the beginning of the year, and I can't tell you what happened in that game. I just know I fought a senator at the end of it, and that was awesome. But yeah, so a game series I wanted to revisit again because the 3rd edition is coming out, hopefully this year, maybe next year, we'll see. Kingdom Hearts Final Mix HD. That is my number 7 game of this year, and it was just amazing revisiting that game because I could remember certain things that happened in it, but I couldn't remember everything. Like I couldn't remember who the final boss or anything like that was. What happened between Sora and Riku, like the storyline with them, like what was going on. And it was cool just revisiting in HD, seeing if it could still hold up. And things do feel just a tad bit dated in the combat system, but it's an action RPG kind of combat system that I like, so I still attached with it very quickly, really easily. Just some things that I heard get improved in Kingdom Hearts 2 is what I'm looking for eventually when I get to play that. As far as the camera control and just combat, hopefully not being just mashing away at X, because that's pretty much what you could do in Kingdom Hearts 1, is just mash away at attack, and you'll be fine. Throwing some spells here and there, and you'll be good to go. But it was lots of fun reliving all these Disney worlds again, going through them, getting Disney characters to join my party and fight with me, and actually understanding how it worked this time. When I first played through Kingdom Hearts, I had no idea how the summons worked or their effect or anything like that. This time I did. I didn't really have to use any of them, but it was cool to have them there. And the boss fights in this one too, just a lot of fun, especially the ending boss fights. They're actually kind of challenging, so it's pretty cool playing through this one again and getting that back in my memory, because now it's there again, and we'll see how long it stays before it disappears again. But I really love the Kingdom Hearts franchise and can't wait to start playing more in that series again too before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. And my number 6 game of the year, Batman Arkham Knight. Loved all the Batman games that have been coming out since Rocksteady took over. Even Arkham Origins, I really like that game too. A lot of people crapped on that game, but I really enjoyed it for the most part. And Batman Arkham Knight, it just nails everything. From as far as the combat and everything, it's just so good. It feels so good. Being Batman, going around through this city that's been taken over by thugs, and just being able to beat up anyone in my sight was a real treat. The one downside of the game for me, as I stated probably in my video about it, was the Batmobile. Or even did do a video on this. I might not have done a video on it. I can't remember. Or talked about it on a podcast. The Batmobile. It took a while to grow on me as far as wanting to control that. But once I got the hang of it, Batmobile wasn't a problem anymore. The big issue was just it kept making me want to do missions with this Batmobile that were not very challenging and pretty easy. And there was a boss fight in the Batmobile that I could have done without. But for the most part, I just love the story in this game. And I just love playing the game. And when I was playing as Batman, I was in that world. And I felt like the Dark Knight just out there just kicking butt. The only other negative thing is just when the story was over, it was over for me. And I didn't really think much about it anymore. I didn't care much more about it. But while I was there in that world, playing it, it was just awesome. And I won't forget it because it was just amazing. Just flying around rooftop to rooftop, just beating up thugs, taking on these bosses. Just a great time. So Batman Arkham Knight, really love that one. Number 6 game of the year. Okay, we're back, and it's down to the top 5. Top 5 games that I played this year. Coming in at number 5, Demon's Souls. Everyone knows I'm a huge Souls fanboy. Love it to death. Love the combat. Love the challenge. Love the boss fights. Love the obtuse storylines. Just love everything about it. I had never played Demon's Souls, though. Well, I played it, but never progressed really far in it. It was one that I got... The first time I get it was after... I think I played the first Dark Souls first, then grabbed Demon's Souls. And it might have been between the time where Dark Souls 2 was going to be coming out. So I wanted to pop it in and try to get that in before I played Dark Souls 2, but never got very far. But I mean not getting very far, I mean I didn't get very far at all. You get through that first boss, and I think the second boss I was already having problems with. But one of the main problems with me with Demon's Souls was navigating through the world. It was a new thing to me. With Dark Souls, it was kind of this open Metroidvania type world, and going back to Demon's Souls, it was a hub world and picking kind of the areas you go to. And I wasn't really used to that. And when I finally figured out like the correct order and stuff to go through to play the game, it was a lot easier. And I breezed right through it, had no real issues or problems until I got to one of the boss fights in it, King Allant, or Valant. It's like I said, my memory's bad now. I got to that fight and I was just having so many problems. It was tough, and I had to recruit the help of my buddy X-Corn Muffin X, Joe. Had to get his help to actually progress further and past that boss fight, because I think I was going out of order when I was fighting. I was fighting a little bit earlier than I should. But he came in and he helped me, and even with us two together, I guess Joe had to shake off the rust because we were having problems, man. We were having problems taking him down, even tag teaming it. But it was a lot of fun being able to at least do some co-op in the game as well. So I had a lot of fun with that, playing Demon's Souls. And that world really started to grow on me too, as far as the Demon's Souls world. A lot of grays in it, but it didn't bother me. And I really enjoyed the hub world aspect of it, like going into a hub world, coming back, cashing in my souls and everything, and heading back out. and picking my stage, I didn't mind that at all. And that's something that kind of carried over into Bloodborne that came out this year, having kind of that hub world area and being able to go out and back into the areas as you've already unlocked them. So, really enjoyed Demon Souls. The boss fights, after some of them, they were pretty easy if you had right builds and stuff for them, so they weren't that much of a challenge as in some other Souls bosses I played. But still being able to play through it, it's one I'm going to play through again just because there's a lot of weapon variety and stuff and builds you can go through playing it. I want to try like a magic or like a caster build in it, see how that goes. I heard it's pretty overpowered though, like in that game. But Demon Souls, easily number 5 game of the year. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait to play it again. My number 4 game of the year. Kind of, and is it really a game? I mean, it had its own. It came out with its own copy, physical copy, but it's more like just a grand expansion, and that is Destiny: The Taken King. Everyone, like, if listening to the podcast and stuff, you know it was a game that I was playing just nonstop a lot this year. Destiny, that game that everyone was excited to play before it came out, and then when the beta came out and it came out, people were like, oh, this is it. And it wasn't, didn't really live up to that bar we had all set for it. But after Bungie has made all the changes and fixes and made the game what it is today with Destiny Taken King, I just fell in love with it. It is just such an awesome game. I love how they changed the leveling system where anyone can just get up to the max level now. It's more like a traditional MMO now where you get to your max level, then you start worrying about the gear when you get to that max level. None of this old light level stuff back in the 20s and stuff like that. I really like how they revamped the system there. The Taken King, the raid, the King's Fall raid, loved every moment of it. I was so glad to be able to farm that with my friends. And when the hard mode came out, we were able to clear that, me and some friends. And you know, the time I've had with it, it's been about a month and a half or so since I popped it in and played it again. Since Fallout 4 came out, I haven't played Destiny because, I mean, Fallout 4. But I've done everything I needed to do in that game. I reached a point of satisfaction where my characters are all geared up and leveled up. I've beaten hard mode so many times that I was happy with all the hours I gotten out of it. And looking up my play hours on Bungie.net, I have too many play hours in that game. I just loved everything about Taken King. Bungie keep pumping out more stuff like that. When the next expansion comes out, I'll be all over it. And when Destiny 2 comes out, I will be all over it. So really, really enjoyed every moment I had in Taken King. If you haven't tried Destiny out, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to do it. Number 3. My top 3 games that I played this year. And it's actually more than 3. My top 3 games is actually it's actually 5 games because I'm cheating. It's my list, and these were tough to just kind of split up and put in its own spot, even though technically you should, but hey, my list. So coming in at number 3, Super Castlevania 4 and Castlevania Area of Sorrow on the Game Boy Advance. The Castlevania series is one that I had not really put a lot of time into, not at all. Lords of Shadows, I think, is that what the Castlevania game was called that came out on PS3 and Xbox 360? Played that one. Before that, I would have dabbled into maybe the NES Castlevania or something like that, but never really beat any of them. But this year, for some reason, something just made me want to play some Castlevania. And when I did, I literally played them back to back. I played Super Castlevania 4, then I played Castlevania on the NES, then I played Area of Sorrow. But Super Castlevania 4, man, I wish I would have played that back in the day when I had it. Or when I had a Super Nintendo. It's great that I have a box physical copy, and I cherish it now because I understand why people love this game, and it is just great. The music is one of the best soundtracks ever in a video game. I love the music in Super Castlevania 4. The visuals for its time probably blew people out of the water. It's a hard game, but it's a little bit more forgiving than those old NES Castlevania games. And I just loved everything about it. I loved like the whip upgrade system and everything, and really the music. The music is where it was at for me, and the boss fights were nice and challenging, and I just loved everything with it. And the reason it was tough to separate it from Area of Sorrow, because that's the game I played after I played Castlevania NES, I went to Area of Sorrow because people were saying that's pretty much the best Game Boy Advance one. So I grabbed it. Man, did I love every moment with that one as well. It was just that exploring that castle and backtracking once you unlock these cool new abilities, the way the abilities and stuff worked with unlocking new moves, and the speed of the game, and the RPG aspect of the game, leveling up and stuff like that. Just really, really loved it. Area of Sorrow, all those Game Boy Advance ones I want to own now. Picked up another, Harmony of Dissonance. Which one did I grab? Yeah, Harmony of Dissonance at Too Many Games. So that'll probably be the next one I dive into this year. And I think I might be playing the trilogy out of order. Oh well, who cares? But Area of Sorrow, really memorable boss fights in that one too, and I just really loved, like I said, the RPG aspects of it. Again, great music, great soundtrack. Visually, it just looked great on the Game Boy Advance. Loved everything about it. And Super Castlevania 4, it was just tough separating them. I know they're the same games, but they're different. They're 2D, kind of side scrollers, action games, but with the RPG elements of Area of Sorrow were just so good. But just seeing what Super Castlevania did back on the SNES, it's pretty incredible stuff. I wish I would have played it early. So number 3, I'm giving it to both of those Castlevania games, Super Castlevania 4 and Castlevania Area of Sorrow. And on to number 2. My number 2 game of the year. I kind of did the same thing as my number 3. It's actually 2 games. And this one was because one of these games does something better than the other, and the other does something better than the other. So if they combine themselves, it would be this epic super game that probably could have took home the number 1 spot this year. But number 2 is going to go to Fallout 4 and Fallout New Vegas. I know some people probably scream, why Fallout? Why on earth would you put Fallout New Vegas on the same plane as Fallout 4? Well, coming into Fallout 4, I had never really beaten 3 yet. I've gotten over halfway, 75% through 3, but it just, something in 3 couldn't really grab me. So I booted up New Vegas because it has more the color. I really want to see more color because Fallout 3 is really brown. So when I saw Fallout New Vegas was coming out years ago, I was like, I'll give that one a try eventually. I've owned it on several different consoles, but eventually beat it on PC. That's what I beat it on this year. And I just loved it. Fallout New Vegas has just a great storyline. Obsidian did great with the storyline. They improved on the gunplay. Still no run button was in New Vegas. Something that Fallout 4 finally fixed and gave me some sprinting. But just everything about New Vegas I thought was superior to 3. Now that people are split down the middle, it seems like, on that one. But I think the choices you get to make in Fallout New Vegas are way better than the choices you get to make in Fallout 3. The impact they have on the storyline and how many different endings and how much you can do in New Vegas to change the outcome of what happens is just great. And the ending of New Vegas, whatever you get, is done so much better than Fallout 4. Excuse me. Fallout 4, pretty much every ending kind of seems the same. So if I wanted to change something different in Fallout 4, I would just want a better storyline like Fallout New Vegas had, and better endings like Fallout New Vegas had. What Fallout 4 did that was so great was they improved on just gameplay. Gameplay in Fallout 4 felt so good. I really loved the addition of these legendary enemies. It got me so excited to see, a legendary enemy. That means you're going to get a legendary loot drop. And what's better than getting a legendary piece of loot or a legendary piece of gear when you're playing any game? No one wants the green gear. We want the purple gear. We want the orange gear. We want the rare stuff, the good stuff. So when you see that legendary monster, it's just, or mutant or whatever it is, or raider, it's just awesome to finally find them, kill them, and take that loot. It's just so much fun. And the world of Fallout 4, I thought it looked great visually, and just the combat system in general. The VAT system, I didn't like how things moved in slow motion. I would have rather things stopped like in the original, like in New Vegas and 3, so I could take my time with it and decide what I want to do. And VATS really didn't seem, I know a lot of people were saying they didn't use VATS a lot in this game. I kind of used it when I was up close and personal with people, but for the most part, I'd say it was probably a 50-50 split as well for me. Like 50% didn't use VATS, and 50% I probably did have it on, and I just enjoyed it. Fallout 4, for the longest time, I was thinking it was going to be my game of the year. I was like, Fallout 4, this game is just amazing. I couldn't put it down because it looked good, it played good, but with its kind of weak storyline and very predictable like endings and stuff, like everything happening with his son and everything, I could see right through everything. Maybe it was just me, but nothing was a shock at all in that game for me. Like things were in New Vegas, the choices you could make in New Vegas. So I thought that was awesome in New Vegas, kind of weak in Fallout 4. And the whole town building thing in Fallout 4, I didn't really get into. But the recruitment of having a lot of companions and stuff again, had a pretty decent good amount in Fallout 4 of variety for your companions. I wasn't too mad about how the dialogue system went in Fallout 4. Like it seemed a lot of people were. The more Mass Effect style, I'm okay with. But the storyline, I guess that kind of shows how the storyline of New Vegas just was kind of, maybe that's what put it above Fallout 4 too. So we'll see. But for now, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, number 2. And finally, we are here. We're at number 1. And if you've been paying attention to everything I've beaten, you know there's a pretty big title that I've left off and hadn't mentioned yet. That title being Bloodborne. Bloodborne, without a doubt, is my number 1 game that I played this year. It's one of my top games of all time now. I know I'm a Souls fanboy, but even this game just opened the world up so much more for people who were kind of worried or afraid of getting into the Souls series because they've heard about how difficult and how hard it is. It seemed like Bloodborne really opened up the doors to welcome a whole new audience to come in and give the game a try. And those people loved it. They couldn't believe what they've been doing, ignoring this series for so long. Bloodborne, it just hit everything right for me. And like I was saying, Fallout 4 was in the running for the game of the year for me because it was fresh on my mind. I mean, it took over November for me. I just kept picking that game up and play it. But when the Old Hunters came out, it just reminded me of how much I love Bloodborne. How much I loved everything about it, from its changes it did with the combat system where it's more fast paced. You have to get in there and attack and not be so passive and afraid of what's going to happen. You got to get in there and go for it. Visually, people, this is the most beautiful game that came out to me this year, from its world design, its level design, that Lovecraftian vibe in it. It's just, that setting is like a perfect setting for me. I love everything about it. It's just so much fun to explore this world, and the way the level design it has the best level design to me out of any game that's come out this year, or even games in the past. The way the shortcuts connect back to the lanterns in the game, the way you have to navigate through the world, and when you find that shortcut, that gate that was locked from the other side, but you can finally get through, it's so well crafted and well designed. And even by well crafted, you can look at all the time they put into this game. Even a little statue with all the detail that it has sitting on this building. You can't walk 10 steps without just wanting to stop and stare at something. Just stare, whether it's a building, a statue, an enemy that you see, where you want to just see everything that's coming out of this enemy. That there's a person coming out of his body, and what is going on? There's the boss designs, the boss fights in this game were so good. I just loved them. There were some choke points for me in the game. Yeah, Bloodstarved Beast. It seemed like one that everyone's kind of having a little bit of trouble with earlier in the game. That was like the boss. If you can get by, that's one of the humps. Keep on going, baby. And once you get by that one, I know I was talking to Alex, so Return to Mother Base last night. That's one he's still stuck at. So I want to help him get through that so he can experience the greatness of Bloodborne and what else it has to offer. And the Old Hunters, that DLC, just bringing in the new weapons and armor and just piling more upon the storyline that's already so good with some great boss fights. The DLC, the Old Hunters, is one of the greatest boss fights. It's a little bit on the easier side, but it's so much fun. Lady Maria, that fight is just amazing. I love that fight. Just from the music again that's playing in the background. It's just such a beautiful, great fight. And the environments. Like I said, visually and everything. Just The music clicks, the visuals click. If it's been a while since you played, if you played it again early in the year, play it again. Play the old Hunters and start to look at it and say, you know what? I think Steven's right. This is probably the best game that came out this year. Again, no, I'm not right. It's just my opinion. Just my opinion. I love that game. I cannot wait. I hope there is a Bloodborne 2. I don't know if there really is going to be or not. It probably is going to be because this one did so well. I know I was happy. I was watching some game trailers and saw that it won its Game of the Year yesterday. So I thought that was awesome. That I'm not the only one in this boat of thinking it was the best game that came out this year. So I loved it. Love every moment of it. I have another character I started up just last week to play through everything again, and I'm enjoying every moment I'm having with that too. So if you haven't tried a Souls game or anything, give Bloodborne a go. You can get it pretty cheap now, especially through the holiday season. It was on sale everywhere. So give it a go. Give it a try. That's my #1 game of this year. Hope you enjoyed this list. Hopefully this video stuff works on the side over here for me. If not, I'll just put a picture or something there. We'll make it work that way. So like I said, those are my games of the year. Hopefully next year, it's already starting off. Things are going to be pretty heavy next year. I already got like 4 games going right now that can be a game of the year in their own book already. So we'll see how it goes. But next year, hope to see some more stuff from me as far as maybe I'll do a little channel update thing, keep it away from this video. But things should be back on track then. But until then, thank you for watching this one. Laggy Gamer, lagging out. Lagging out.